Fair
A
enough.
couple questions, if I can, and if you need to run, just let me know. But I wanted to ask you about Ottawa and what you think about this team through its
Hmm.
rebuild and where you see it currently at.
I see a lot of the Hartford Whalers in the Ottawa Senators, and people might laugh at that. We had a phenomenal team in Hartford, and it had to be brought to the ground floor. And then all these kids showed up in Hartford at the same time. Ron Francis, Ulf Samuelson, Kevin Dineen, Dean Evison, Paul McDermott, Brad Shaw, myself. All of a sudden, we were all 21, 22 years old.
Hmm.
We came to overtime in Game 7 against Montreal in 1986. They won the Stanley Cup. A couple of years later, ownership changed and they decided we don't want to wait for these young guys anymore. What I'm telling you is you've got to wait for the young guys because
Yeah.
like Shane Pinto's going to look great and then he's going to flatten out. But you can't lose patience because he's a terrific player. You got to wait for that flat spot to be an upswing again.
Mhm.
But I see talent and skill and speed. The goaltending's the one place that I look at and go like, do one of those young guys jump up and grab the deal? Because if they do, they've got so many prospects. That's going to bubble into something really great. So when I say I see the Hartford Whalers, that means I see a really great road in front of the Senators. I really do.
Can you talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs? Would you? And
Oh.
the,
I
don't
was
even know
going
how
to
to
ask him
the
that
question.
too. I have to
It
know
just seems
Ray's
like the
angle
mess.
on the Maple Leafs. Yeah.
Okay, so I talked earlier about goal scoring and getting into the middle of the ice. And so the Leafs have a bunch of advanced stats that look really good. They have possession of the puck a lot. They complete more passes. Their skill is obvious. Until they can figure out how to get inside the game, not for a little bit, but to get in there and stay in there, they're not going to be successful.
Mhm.
And to think like one of the greatest misnomers is, man, we want to dominate a game for 60 minutes. You'd never do that. That never happens. It's the other team's trying really hard too. And they're going to have portions of the game where they outplay you. That just happens. But the Leafs don't have shift after shift control of the game like they need to have. And like even last night they lose. Well, first of all, they get pumped in Pittsburgh. That means they were just outworked by an American Hockey League team.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
Hey, like sometimes, Mark, like you don't have to be the best player. Helps if you've got lots of the best players, but you've got to at least match the commitment, the work ethic, the
Absolutely.
desire on a 50-50 puck that even if you lose it, you're going to get it back. Somehow you're going to get it back.
Yep.
Well, they get the crap kicked out of them in Pittsburgh a couple nights after losing to San Jose, who was playing on back-to-back nights.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Hutchison, there's always a reason. Hutchison didn't play well that game. Yeah, but still, you should be good enough to beat San Jose in that spot. They get their rear ends kicked in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Now they play last night. Carolina's a good team, but Carolina gets to the inside of the ice. And they stay there and they fight for their position. And Toronto just, I mean, it was better, sure, but better is relative.
Yeah. And Ray, when you say that, just briefly, because I know, again, we're holding here for a long time. When you say getting to the inside for people listening, you mean like getting into those harder areas that people don't necessarily always want to go to, like we talked about earlier? Is that kind of what you're getting to?
Yeah. So what I look at is like, so they've got the puck, they've got control of the puck, they enter on the zone and they've got control. The guy ends up behind the net. Now he's circling behind the net. He's got the puck. That's great. The other five guys are still defenders, are just standing in the middle of the ice. They're going to let you skate around. Great. You got possession all the time. There has to be a give and go, close support that's inside the defender. And you go there and maybe nothing happens right away, but now you grind it back in the corner and you use your skill in a tight spot, but now you're on the inside of the battle.
Yeah.
And eventually somebody takes a penalty, somebody gets beat out of position. And now I can see anyway, I made a living on the power play. They're in total panic mode on the power play. It's now one guy trying to rush the puck into the zone. Everybody's talking about, Marner in the bumper position. Hell, they can't even get to that.
Exactly.
They don't get in
They're
the
not
zone.
even setting up. Yeah.
So it's funny. There's this fine line between relaxation. You got to relax to play well, but you've got to grind. There is no substitute for the grind. And I'll say this about, like, to use a best player example, the best grinder in the history of the game is Sidney Crosby. He plays on the inside of the game.
Yeah, he's relentless. I agree.
Right. And like, you're playing against him and you're like, fucking go away.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the puck.
Just
he
keeps
comes
coming.
back and he wants it back. And you can't say, they got the puck, I'm gonna track back. No, get it back. Fight for it. And if Toronto can find that, they've got plenty of talent. If they can't find that, they're going to have stretches where they kick the crap out of teams that aren't as good as them. And then they're going to struggle against the teams that'll do that more than them.